is for the monthly department head meeting. We'll start with Jessica.
Okay. Update as of the end of last week, Moon Pass is officially open. Our guys are still gonna be out there intermittently doing some maintenance and repairs, but open for travel to the public. No restrictions at this time or anything like that. We have been having some issues at the Murray dump location. It's our yard shared site with the dumpster from the transfer station. We've always, over the last several years, had issues with people dumping there, people dumping things they shouldn't be dumping, throwing garbage all over. And so a lot of Mondays, our guys will spend 10 hours, the whole crew, just cleaning up the dump site. So we've had some things come up. People have been dumping things that we can't really dispose of, like the rods and stumps. And we had somebody chop up a few campers over the weekend and dump the pieces up there. And so they're kind of dealing with that. We started some talks we reached out to, Richard from Solid Waste, last week, and we were talking about some issues up there and, maybe coming up with some ideas about some extra signage and things. We've had some talks with the previous board about maybe what we can do to mitigate some of those issues. But it's hard up there because there's no enforcement and we can't staff it. You know, it can't be staffed. And so if people
It's not really fenced or anything.
it's fenced,
fenced.
but we
Piled up
leave
on
it
the
open
outside.
because we used to close the gate and lock it so people couldn't get in. But then what happens is they will dump at the gate.
Yeah.
And so then you have a whole weekend's worth of, dumping at the gate. And so at the time we opted to just leave it open, but now it's just kind of out of control and a lot of things they can't take at the transfer station. And so then they just sit up in our yard. And so that's kind of, what we're looking at. So I think what I'd like to do is kind of schedule some workshops with, Solid Waste and maybe somebody from the board. We can kind of brainstorm and troubleshoot some things maybe we can do or things to look forward to doing or planning ahead. And then maybe bring some ideas to the board officially. But that's my plan this week is to maybe start scheduling some meetings and Richard, from Solid Waste is on board and, Rick Dooney, our supervisor from the Murray district. We're looking forward to kind of coming up with some ideas. We're definitely going to start with some signage up there.
Definitely.
First and foremost,
letting them know what's allowed.
And yep. And then after that, maybe we'll talk about, what we can do and can't do as far as enforcement and just trying to get things a little more under control. It's always bad after a holiday weekend. It's always worse, but I was sent some pictures into my inbox this morning and just it almost looked like somebody had run a logging operation and dumped, cargo trailers of wood up there. And so definitely some things, that we need to start looking at moving forward.
So.
And then, we're in the throes of park season. So, West Shoshone Park and G Day Park are open and things have been going pretty well. Yesterday we did have a water line break at West Shoshone Park. And so, it's going to take us a few days to get things. We had to call for locates this morning. And so, we're going to get some equipment down there and dig it up and see if we can get things fixed. So we have had to shut the water off. And I'm kind of making some calls before I came up here, but we're going to get a porta potty brought in. So there will be restroom facilities there. We hope to have that fixed by the end of this week. Other than that, our road department, we are just doing our spring maintenance, brushing, ditching, grading. We've replaced a few culverts, when we were opening up Moon Pass. That's the best time for us to we had a couple of rotten culverts that we ended up replacing, and so we got that all taken care of. We're going to do some repair work. At one of the trestles, there was a pretty bad approach to the trestle that's getting a little bit dangerous, and so we're going to be up there this week, fixing that properly. So just something that's gotten a little worse over the years, and the winter was not kind to it. So. We are working on a brushing project with fire mitigation. of Terra Gulch and, of Montgomery Gulch. And so it's nice that our two departments can come together because, there is some funding reimbursement for that. So our guys would bring the equipment and do the labor. We would do the flagging for the jobs. And it is, built into a project through Bill McLeod with fire mitigation.
Okay.
So, it's nice that we can communicate and work together, to get a good end result.
Now, is that just cleaning the roadway up or is that doing the whole
Just
fire?
kind of brushing, not too far off the right of way. And
Okay.
both of the places would have been brushing we would have done anyways,
Mhm.
but they fell within the scope of,
Okay,
Bill's
good.
project. So we should see some money coming back on that.
Okay, good.
Good.
And wasn't, Gold Path Road, from Avery over to through Montana,
Hmm.
that is open also.
Okay,
If you guys, we've been getting calls on that. I just had one right before we came up here.
Go fast.
Okay.
Gold Path.
Yeah, we get a lot of calls in the spring on that one. Other than that, just regular spring maintenance for us, so.
We have enough park guys.
We do, we actually are fully staffed right now for parks, and it's been several years since we've been able to say that,
Good.
so.
And they're all doing wonderful.
good.
Yes, and they really do a great job. They get along well. They're great with the public. And they really take a lot of pride in their work.
Good.
And a lot of them go above and beyond. Mike Koenig is our supervisor for the Jean Day Park, and he was dealing with a situation Sunday night that he called me out, and we had to get the sheriff's office involved on that. But he handles things really well, and he's great with situations like that.
Good. Going.
That's
You
right.
guys done?
Yep.
So it's just been broadband and we're in the countdown now for the CPF funding through the state and prepping for the BEAD funding that'll be coming out. We've had a lot of calls with Celerity and ITD and different internet service providers and, really kind of scoping out what does this look like and what are we doing for now and for the future. And I think we've come up with some pretty cool solutions that we didn't think were possible. And so I'm really excited about that and see how it all ends up shaking out. We met with Alta, Dawn and Meet from Clarkia, all met a couple weeks ago and talked about their sewer system and what needs to be done down there. That was a part of the ARPA funding. The SLFRF money was to put 40,000 towards getting their sewer system up and running. They have a pretty unique system down there.
Yeah.
So we were able to sit down with Alta and start talking about what does this look like and involving them in doing the studies that need to be done to position for the bigger grant funds. And so there was a lot of good experience that was put on the table where I think we're going to be able to use that 40,000 to, increase it into hopefully millions of dollars to be able to get their system up and where it needs to be. So we're going to be working through that case summer to get that figured out. We should have all the grant funding open this fall for them to go forward with that. Working through some other, contracting things. So the bus that's been reviewed by Scott and I made the changes and it's back in his office. So it's taken a little bit longer because we really kind of reworked the whole thing. So that'll be back to you guys hopefully in the next week or two to get signed for the Silver Express and we can go forward. Other than that, it's just lots of reading and phone calls and broadband wrangling.
One of the things is I've talked to people from Calder and they're having the same issue with their sewer system and their water system. And so I've asked them to call you, but the problem is a lot of these towns over there, they're not incorporated. So they don't have a board or a city council. So, they have a sewer board. So I asked them to get things together in town to see if, what else they needed and have them contact you.
Now would be a great time because we can lay the foundation to get them into, especially DEC funding.
Okay.
Coming up, and where they're rural and they fit into a lot of really good.
And I'm sure Avery's probably on there too. Pretty sure that they have problems as well. But
Yep. My way, I don't know that I have funding, but I can help in
Okay.
directions.
I'll tell.
Parkia has been a good experience on
Yeah,
who, what, when, why, and where.
no, they're not incorporated as well. Was it a group of citizens that came up or are they incorporated?
I believe they are incorporated.
So they have a mayor and they have a,
No, maybe they're not, because I don't know that, you know, I didn't go into that. I just met
Okay.
with the board, which is all volunteer. And
okay, so they have kind of a board there.
Yeah.
Okay.
they have a very minimal budget.
Mhm.
So what they have in repairs is not going to do anything besides a bit of painting. It's not gonna,
Mhm.
I mean, what they were looking at is about $75,000 per lift station. And so that wasn't gonna,
Yeah.
wasn't gonna work with what they were able to raise with their minimal amount of ratepayers. It'll be the hard conversations for you know, the other Calder and Avery, and
Mhm.
because you do have to do the rate studies and you have to be sustainable, and people are usually pretty not excited about raising rates, but
Mhm.
it's either that or
Go
you're on
without.
septic.
Yeah.
But yeah, have fun.
Okay. Weeds?
So we met last week up in Moon Gulch. We had a knotweed project up there. I don't know if you are aware exactly, but we're working with the Forest Service mainly, and we'll go up and treat the knotweed up there. We call it the mother plant because it's as far up as it goes, and then it's all coming back down. So where we try to get it down below, it just keeps receding. So a couple of years ago, we were able to find that mother plant and map it out, how wide the spread was and everything. And we've been treating it from the bottom, top down, and it's been, I think this will be our third year treating it. And you can really good progress. Have to send Tracy some photos.
Okay.
Yeah. And exciting.
You can send it the VOCC address if you want all of us to see it.
I'm going out today to do, so, last week we also checked up on, a project or a spray time that we did on the golf course, Galena Ridge Golf Course in town. And that took really good. It was at the end of the season, so it was kind of a trial because the first frost had already gone, but there was still green leaves and did really well. So we're excited about that, but there was a few shoots still, so we're gonna hit it today and see the springtime, but also a good time to get it. Not week one that it takes in all the energy in the fall, so
Mhm.
anyhow. And tomorrow, no, Thursday. Thursday's our spray day, so if anybody wants some herbicide for lawns, lawn care. Herbicide.
Where's that gonna be at?
Osborne Shop. So for lawn care and not one for alley weeds and that kind of stuff. Specific for lawn, yeah.
So what times does it start?
1 to 4. Good stuff. And we have some backpacks for swim for surf kind of thing, and if you want, just bring your own herbicide. Or herbicides. And we'll fill you up for 3 gallons.
So is this for lawns only?
Yes. Some people get after their coffee and herbicide is labeled for coffee. They think they can.
So you want them to bring their own container, right?
Yeah, if they have it. If not,
And you advertised, correct?
Yeah.
These spray days, they get advertised.
Yeah, then we got one, following the 8th, and that'll be at, the Real Life in Pine Cove. Same time, same rule.
Okay. Now you discussed before what kind of container. So that if they're gonna bring their own container, what is it supposed to be?
Oh, just it has to be 4 herbicides.
Okay,
No, we're not gonna fill up
a milk jug. Yeah.
And clean. We've had people come in and prefer not to mix things that we don't know what's at the bottom, so. We've got some pretty good group of people that are gonna be helping out, so. I'm just gonna pull down. And the contractor could be starting in a couple weeks. After him. And the last week. So.
So how much road is he gonna do this year? Do you think?
How much?
How much of, how many
I
miles?
don't have a total. I worked with roads and got a list and then I added some more
Okay,
roads.
okay.
It's kind of on the contract, the estimated amount, I
And
think,
Yeah.
that
Yeah.
they got. from
Did they
roads.
get pretty close to it?
Yeah, you
Okay.
think, you'll probably get a lot more done this year than last year, right?
Oh, definitely more than
Yeah.
last year.
Okay,
So
good.
there wasn't much done at all last year.
Yeah.
Got anything, Tracy? You wanna start off?
No, I'm not offhand today.
We're just excited about our new maintenance guy.
Oh, yeah.
You walked in and actually
He
he's
has.
painting the trim outside. We didn't even have to tell him to, you know.
He's
There's a lot
doing a
going on,
great
yeah.
job.
Also, we need to remind him of these meetings that he can come in
Oh,
and
that's
update
right.
us on
Yep.
his projects,
Yep.
because he doesn't know yet, but yeah.
So it's
He's
kind of
been
exciting.
great to work with.
I've
Good.
had compliments from other people. We didn't even
Mhm.
tell him our list that we've been waiting for on 2 years and things were done, so.
That's
Yeah.
great.
Yeah.
The back stairs going down to our office, nice and clean. The leaves are all cleaned up that were there from
Around.
last year and, yeah, so he's got all that down there really cleaned and
Mm-hmm.
that's really nice. It's nice to walk into a nice entrance to go into your office.
We haven't had to hire the lawn to be mowed, which,
We've had, have you been into his quarters down there?
It looks fantastic. He
can't
has
believe
done
it.
such a great job cleaning it out and, once he can get the chiller guys out of there,
Mhm.
yeah, and really, but it sounds like he's gonna get himself a nice little workshop set
Yeah.
up, which will be really great for him.
And we're still, dealing with the properties up the river, so we got that going this week, so
Okay.
that's gonna be interesting, but
Just to see where you go with that.
yeah, yeah.
Out to the public, so.
I think that's about it. That and the budget. Everybody's got theirs done.
Yeah.
So. Now we get to
for the
review it.
next step, yeah.
Yeah.
Any more comments?
So,
The public? Nothing, huh? Any questions?
I just need a couple of minutes of Jessica's after this, if she.
Okay.
Absolutely.
I think I had signage. I talked to the guy that owns, Pinehurst Wrecking,
Okay,
and they're having trouble over there with a lot of people speeding by.
okay.
I've got
And,
complaints
you know,
of
they're-
other areas too, but
Yeah, and do you guys ever do 25-mile-an-hour speed limits when you start getting close to neighbors, when like his stretch, there's a lot of houses right there?
It depends. Anytime we lower a speed limit, we can't decide just to lower the speed limit.
Okay,
What has to be done is a speed study. And so that has to go through an engineering company. We've done one since I've been here in 2019, and that was, initiated by a petition by, people up Coeur d'Alene River Road on that lower portion there.
okay,
Like right around the Silver Bridge, south. And, they tweaked it a little bit, for about
This one.
700 yards on one end. And, they didn't tweak it much because, the speed limits are set by, several factors, and sometimes too slow, can be just as dangerous as too fast.
okay,
And so, for us to just go and change the speed limit if we're not doing a temporary change like construction or something like
Mhm.
that, we would definitely wanna look into that. The speed limit studies are, fairly costly. Normally the burden is, down on our office. We end up paying for that.
Actually, we made it starting after that last one. It's on the
For the person that
is
requested,
requesting it.
yeah, because it could
It's
be,
everywhere, so if
Uh-huh.
we would go broke just doing fee
yeah,
studies.
and
Yeah.
there's
On
several
the
$1,000s, you know,
Okay.
to do those, so.
Another,
Okay, so it has to be an engineering firm that comes in and does the
Yes.
study.
Yeah.
And Pinehurst Wrecking is, where's that located?
It's on, Pine Creek Road.
so the signage is probably pretty expensive too, isn't it?
It is,
But I've seen cities and stuff get grants. And what about
Yeah.
those flashing signs that
So we
rate?
qualify,
Radars
to
that
put in
you're
for a sign grant every few years. We're not quite eligible to reapply again.
Okay.
And so those are difficult because the flashing signs, are several $1,000s a piece. And the flashing ones have to either be powered or solar powered.
Mhm.
So sometimes at the gulches, they don't get enough, solar power, to keep them active. They're costly to repair. They're very nice to have because they do catch your attention. They're very effective. We still run into the enforcement issue, which we can't help with that. But signage does help with that. So, it's difficult because, we have about 370 miles of roadway. All of them have multiple signs. And so we try to hit, the worst areas. Some of our signs get to the point where they need replaced. We do have a very minimal sign budget in our annual roads budget. But it doesn't go very far. It's about $2,000. And a lot of signs are, a couple $100s a piece. So, it really doesn't go very far. So, but we're gonna be, I think it might be this year, we'll be eligible to reapply for the sign grant through LSAP. And so we'll kind of look at, where the money can best be spent.
Curiosity is his concern because of the people on the road or the safety of them entering the road, the quote trucks in the road or.
Entering the road. Entering the road, and then I guess there is quite a few houses down. It's kind of a straight stretch. So
Sure.
there's quite a few houses
Well, we can
and
definitely
kids.
go up and take a look at it. Even if we don't have anything left in our budget for additional signage for this year, we can look at possibly the necessity, going into next fiscal year. If we feel like, more signage might help up there, we can
Yeah.
certainly look at it.
Now, I know you guys did the intersections. You were able to do intersections through the safety.
Yes.
Is there anything other than the sign, other than the grant that you've already applied for and are going to reapply for? Is there any other grants out there that do that for safety studies?
So there are, the safety ones are interesting because the criteria is a little bit different. A lot of times what pops them into the safety category are the recorded accidents.
Oh, that's right. You were telling me that.
And
Right.
so, we might see a need, this is a safety issue, but their criteria, for scoring that or eligibility is different than, what we would think would be obvious, to
Yeah.
us. And so that's why the 5 intersections that were looked at through this Silver Valley Safety Improvements, project that we have, that's why they qualify because they were all recorded accidents or, unfortunately fatalities at those sites.
Okay. Okay. Interesting.
Yes.
Anything else? Got anything? No? Anything else with you guys? We'll adjourn.